Hey, what's going on, everybody? Welcome back to the Evergreen Marketing Live Show. We're doing things a little bit differently this week. So we're changing things up at Carrot. We have combined coaching calls with the Evergreen Marketing Live, and this is our first week of doing that. So how special that we get Mallory on the show. What's up, Mallory? To
Hello.
kick this thing off.
Yeah, excited to be here.
Yeah. What's the most interesting question? I'm putting you on the spot completely. What's the most interesting question you've come across this week in Carrot Land?
Oh, uh, interesting question. I don't know. Well, you know what? I was just sharing some stuff in our Facebook community about some marketing psychology tips, which I always love to learn more about because that is the foundation of everything. Is understanding why people click on things on a website, why people buy things. So,
Yeah.
not a question, but just something that I've been interested in that I like to share with our community on Facebook.
Yeah, and that was the black and white versus color one. Yeah, was that post?
Yeah. So
Interesting.
basically, you could apply it to a lot of things. But for a lot of our members, they might feature before and after photos, right? Say that you buy a house, you do a fix and flip, and you renovate it, and it's beautiful after. And you want to share the before and after comparison. Basically, what this tip was saying is that when you share the before photos as a black and white photo, and then you share the after photo in full color, it just helps create more of that visual distinction immediately for the viewer, and it kind of just like helps them understand the difference that much easier.
It's faster. There's less confusion about which is, it's funny when you say that. When I saw that post in the group, the first thing that comes to mind for me is I was gonna say old school, but they're probably still running and just don't watch TV. But as seen on TV ads,
Yeah.
commercials, just
Yep.
the black and white, like the wife is in the house with her head in her hands, it's all black and white. She's like, "No, why did my tomato slicer break? Why is it dull?" And
Yeah, the article I linked to by Nick Kalinda, he has a really great site. He does a lot of research about consumer psychology. He
yeah,
actually referenced those old school TV commercials.
that's so funny. I think they're still doing commercials that way. I was in a hotel a couple months ago and I was like, they were playing like these ads are still going for like Miracle Blade and whatnot. It's wild. Anyways, well, that's cool. Yeah, it's always fun diving into the psychology behind the marketing. Thanks for letting me put you on the spot.
Well, it's
Okay,
related to what we're talking about today, right? Design.
it is, and that was actually not even intentional. Yeah. So today we're talking about easy tweaks, easy design tweaks to make to your Carrot website to stand out. Because a lot of people want to know, like, okay, there's a misconception from some people about Carrot sites look the same. It's not the case. There's a lot of people with really great looking websites that have not put in a ton of work to make them stand out. There are people who have put in a ton of work to make their websites look really good, but not everyone. There are some really simple, easy things you can do to your website to differentiate from the other ones in your market. So anyways, we're going to be going after the low-hanging fruit today. So that being said, we're doing this live right now. If you're listening to the podcast, afterwards, we're doing a live Q&A coaching call, answering questions. So if you're listening to this podcast, join us in the Facebook group or the Carrot or your Carrot account live every week, and we'll answer questions. But otherwise, let's get into it, and we'll roll the podcast here. We'll give you the high level summary, and then we'll do the coaching call after that. All right. So if you want your website to stand out from competitors in your market and convert more traffic into leads, you're in luck. Mallory and I today are going to break down a handful of things you can easily implement on your website to make it look really good, grab attention, and convert site traffic at a much higher rate. So we're going to dive into it. We're going to give you the high level summary, and then afterwards we're going to do a live coaching call and Q&A and really get into the weeds and show you some examples if you're on YouTube or inside your Carrot account watching this with us live. But let's go down the list, Mallory. We have 6 things, and I was just telling you, I hate the number 6. It's not good for marketing. Talking about marketing psychology, I don't know why. We like 3s, 5s, and 7s. I don't know why, but we do. But there's about 6 things that we pulled that we feel like would be really helpful for y'all. The first one, add a credibility bar. What the heck is a credibility bar, Mallory? Why does it work? What goes in it?
Well, it's basically a special type of block within our visual editor that we have available for you that makes it really easy to include your testimonials, links to things like your Google My Business profile, and it's all nicely formatted and laid out. So you can just click on one of our many different credibility block options, put that in, and then edit it, choose what testimonials you want to go with it, stuff like that, because it kind of builds credibility for your website.
Yeah, absolutely. It's easy. It goes near the top of the page. It's got reviews in it, and it shows that you're credible right off the bat without people having to scroll further down the page. So we've tested this. We've seen that credibility bars right below the hero section is going to increase conversion. So it's becoming more common practice. But like Mallory said, it's something that's pre-built, something you can do pretty easily. Add a credibility bar to the page, and it's going to help conversion. And it's going to add some design differentiation. It's going to break the page up a little bit. On that note, credibility bar, because a lot of times you'll have testimonials in the credibility bar. Use a variety of testimonials. What types of I can tell you what types of testimonials we've seen best, Mallory, but like what kind of mistakes do you see people making with testimonials? Like, do people gravitate towards certain ones?
Well, I think that there's lots of different ways that you can feature testimonials and quotes and reviews from your happy clients and customers. And I think if you're not utilizing different ways to do that, that could be a mistake potentially, right? Because you could do screenshots of some of those reviews. Like if you have Google My Business, taking a screenshot, because that can help kind of create some extra proof and legitimacy that that's a real testimonial, right? But if
Yeah.
you only add a screenshot as an image and it's full of text that's depicted, but you don't add alt text or alternative text when you're uploading that image, Google and people who have visual impairments will have no idea what is written in that screenshot, right?
Yeah.
So you can also add text-based testimonials, kind of copy and paste what's written in those Google reviews, for example. And that can be a completely different format of a testimonial that's giving the search engines some words, some, written copy, possibly including some of your keywords where people have said nice things about you. And then you could link that back to the original source on Google. So I think it's helpful to use multiple different types of testimonials and also video testimonials. Those are always going to be amazing if you're sitting at a closing or have a happy customer that you can get on video and share that. That's amazing proof.
Yeah, video testimonial is definitely the best type of testimonial. Yeah, it's interesting. Like with testimonials, it's always this balance, and other things, this balance between conversion and SEO. Like we've tested the different types, like a plain text testimonial versus like a screenshot of a Facebook review or a Google review, or even like on our own website on carrot.com, text messages for members. And those work really well for conversion, but it's not giving Google as much info. So I guess the takeaway is if you do screenshots of Google reviews or Facebook reviews, just like you said, Mallory, make sure you're following best practices for image optimization, and you're naming the file appropriately, and you're using the right alt text for SEO and people who are visually impaired. So use a variety of testimonials. That's another really easy way to break up your carrot site. And shoot, just freaking add them in general. Like add testimonials. I see carrot websites where people are not adding enough testimonials. You can never have too many testimonials all over the site. Okay, we'll beat that dead horse every single week. Number 3, add snazz to your blocks. Add style to your blocks. What does this mean? What are some of the things you could do?
Yeah. So we have lots of different blocks available within our visual editor. So basically, when you go in and edit a page or a post, you have the option to add sort of pre-formatted block options. One of those is credibility blocks. One of those is testimonial blocks. There's like paragraphs, and you could make a pre-formatted list or an image block, all sorts of different things. But one thing that I think people might not realize is that a lot of these blocks have like special styling settings for those blocks, which can kind of give you more options to play with. So with a list, for example, say that you want to do a bulleted list. If you go into the sidebar settings, right? So basically, if you're looking at your Carrot website in the back end while you're editing things, on the right-hand side, there's a sidebar. So there will be page settings and block settings if you kind of clicked and selected a specific block. So if you're wanting to edit those bulleted lists, for example, you'll have options like you can make that list be check marks instead of just the dot bulleted list, right? Or if you're editing an image block, you'll have options to do like a drop shadow or a rounded image. And so play around and explore the different settings. I would suggest maybe just create a page that you're not even publishing, that you're kind of just using to like test out all the blocks and see what's available, and kind of make note of which blocks you really like and which options and settings for each of those blocks you like. And that will help you figure out how to make your Carrot site look different than the standard template or look different than other Carrot websites.
Yeah, that's a good idea. Have a I'm blanking on the term what you call that, but yeah, have a test page, have an experiment page where you could just break stuff and not be worried about messing up the look of your homepage.
Yeah.
A
I love
lab.
thinking of it as a sandbox. Sandbox is one of my
Sandbox.
favorite
Thank
terms.
you.
Like that's half the way that I have learned SEO and web design over the last 20 years, is just creating little website sandboxes and playing with things and breaking them on my own, and not publishing those, just using that to experiment and learn.
Yeah, I like that. So I have a little sandbox, especially like rounded images, like rounded corners on images. I don't see a lot of that, and that's something that can really help you stand out and look a whole, like, it's such a minor thing, but it can really change the look and feel of your whole website, and make it look a little bit more modern. Just some slightly rounded corners. Cool. Number 4 to 6, color it up. This one's easy, but I think Mallory, you and I were talking about this. One of the biggest mistakes we see with people building websites in general, not just at Carrot, is picking random colors or colors that they like. And we all did this in the early 2000s when MySpace was hot and heavy and we're all learning HTML. You go in and you pick your colors, you set the color code, and you just have this smattering of randomness. For me, it was like black and neon green, and I thought that looked so good. But people do this. I'm sorry for calling you all out, but I think the biggest thing to keep in mind is choose complementary colors. You found a really cool tool for this. What's it called again?
Yeah, Coolors. So Coolors.com. It's a really great color palette generator, and they also have a lot of existing color palettes. So basically, if you have one specific color that is in your logo or your brand, and especially if like the hex code, that 6-digit, with the pound sign in front of it, the little hashtag sign in front of it, you can pop that in and kind of play around and find other colors that will look nice with that one specific color or two specific colors. Kind of find a broader color palette that you'll have to play with. And yeah, like you said, Brady, finding some complementary colors, but then maybe also have one color that is kind of a contrasting color that you'll be able to use for things like buttons, for example, right? Because we don't want our buttons to be the exact same color as everything else on our website, because they'll just blend in, and that's bad for conversions.
Right. Yeah, that's a good one. So yeah, use complementary colors, use Coolors, the tool, and then you can link these up in your Carrot website as your primary, secondary link and button color, like Mallory mentioned. And then you can also change block backgrounds too. A lot of people don't realize that.
Yeah. So if you're working in like a paragraph block or something, same way that I described, playing around with those settings on your blocks, you can go in and change like a background color. So again, experiment. And when it comes to colors, I would also say, if you're not familiar with basic color psychology and kind of the ways that different colors are going to make people, like your potential clients or customers, feel about you and your brand, brush up on that and make sure that you have an understanding to know that you're not including colors on your website that might convey a different feeling than you want to be conveying to those people, right?
Yeah. Yeah. Color psychology is something really interesting. I think, yeah, I mean, you could go Google like color psychology and probably read a blog post and get most of it. But for me, I like really paying attention to what brands are out there, and you can just kind of look at a brand and then think about, okay, who is their audience? What's their unique selling proposition? What are they trying to go after? And especially for big brands with big budgets, it usually correlates really well to the color. So you think about like Best Buy and Target, like Dollar Tree, Dollar General. Yeah, certain colors will, some colors like green will communicate like this is a good value. We're after the value, cheap and easy.
Yeah.
Red's a pretty aggressive color. Like Red, a lot of people like in our industry should maybe stay away from red if you're a house seller. But for some reason, that seems to be like the go-to color for contractors. I
Yeah,
don't.
I mean, they can all mean different things kind of depending on other, related factors. Messaging also plays into this, other, imagery and stuff. But it's just important to have an understanding of it. And I would also say too, if you are not confident in this and really do not feel like you're a design person, it can also be worth investing in working with a professional graphic designer, even if they're not doing all of your graphics. Just having a basic brand kit that you work with somebody who really knows this stuff to kind of help you develop that color palette. If you're unsure about any of it, that can
Mhm.
really go a huge, huge way in having that expert design eye to kind of inform the changes that you're making on your website.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I'd back that up. Definitely recommend like work with a designer. Yeah, have somebody help you pick out your colors, your logo. Don't just go to Fiverr and pick the cheapest one. Please don't. Um, number five is photos. So when you get a Carrot website or any website for that matter, replace the stock images that we give you with local images. Um, where to start, what images to start with, and if I leave anything up, Mallory, let me correct me. Header image is probably the best spot. Your header image, your hero image on your homepage. Let's say if you're in Seattle, just pick this because it's an easy example. An image that might work well is like the city skyline or something that's easily recognizable as a landmark in your city that you do business in. So you're in San Antonio, Texas. This might be the Alamo. Everybody knows the Alamo. Something where it's like, okay, this person's local. So a good way to get these is you can go to a free website like Unsplash. You have one that you like to go to?
Pexels, Pexels, like pixels,
Yeah.
but with an E
Okay. Yeah.
instead. That's one. There's a lot of good royalty-free stock photography sites, and then there's also ones where you can pay for the licensing, things like Getty, Adobe stock photos. It just
Yeah.
depends on how much money you want to put into it, or if you want to try to find something free that other people may also be using that same image.
Yeah, exactly. And you get a free one really fast too. Like from Unsplash. I went into Seattle, typed in, or excuse me, I went into Unsplash, typed in Seattle, and there were a couple great free ones, but other people are going to be using those ones too. So if you want to be more likely to stand out, maybe pay just $7 or $10, whatever it is, the flat fee to buy somebody's photo. So hero image or header image. Next one, pay for a professional headshot. You can speak to this because you've had this done. So have I. It's like paying one time for a headshot that's going to last you the next 5-7 years. Pretty good investment.
Yeah, well, and it can be not just headshots, but you can actually pay to have professional photos of you or your team that you can also use for other website, full width background images. I've done a lot of this on my personal sites. It's important to work with a photographer who understands that you're going to be using those images on a website and how you might be using them. Because if you want a photo of you and your team to be used as a full width image, you probably want to make sure that there's plenty of negative space in the background. So basically, like enough kind of like wall space or nature space behind you that you don't have to like crop it in, that it's going to look good if it's kind of stretched out
Right.
behind text on your website, for example. But paying for that for professional photography can really go a long way. And again, back to the point about kind of working with a professional designer in terms of picking brand colors and how that can really be helpful. Make sure that your photography reflects the brand that you want to convey to your customers.
Mm.
So one thing that I've noticed with some of our members is maybe they have like, they're wearing like a suit and tie in
Mhm.
their headshot, but maybe that's not how they ever show up when they're actually working with a client in real life. And you want to
Mhm.
make sure that that experience of you in your photography on your website is consistent and cohesive with how you're going to show up in real life, because you don't want there to be this jarring experience of like, oh, I think that I'm meeting this very professional buttoned up suit and tie person, but then I show up to talk to this person whose website I
Mhm.
filled out a form on, and suddenly it seems like a completely different brand or company, because that will help you,
Yeah.
that will like lose trust for you, right?
We had this happen at the were you at the last Carrot Camp?
Yeah, I was.
The last Carrot Camp. I'm not going to mention the guy's name. We love him, one of our members, and he was showing his website. We're all in the room. We're looking at his website on the TV, and it was very agenty, for lack of a better word, and it was just very retail-y, buyer focused. and everybody in the room was like, hey man, this is half your problem right here. It's like, this is a website for motivated sellers, but you look like an agent. And he was an agent. So he just had a little bit of like brand confusion going on. And so someone in the room was like, what do you show up to appointments in? You don't show up to appointments looking like that, full suit and tie. He's like, no, I would never. Like, t-shirt and a baseball cap, usually, sometimes a polo. And they're like, okay, and just kind of let it sit. He's like, okay, yeah, that's what my website needs to do. It's
Yeah,
got to be
well,
cohesive.
exactly. I mean, we're starting to work more with, different home service businesses, contractors, heating and air conditioning companies, roofing companies. You wouldn't expect to go to one of those websites and see somebody on the about page in a suit and tie. That would just feel like, do you really
Yeah,
know how to fix my heater?
yeah,
Right?
yeah, exactly. It'd be a little interesting. Yeah. Okay, so yeah, photos, swap them out, get a free one, get a paid image, but make sure it's local to your city. Just get a professional headshot. Make a Facebook post, ask for photographers in your area, have someone come out to your office and shoot it. Um, Last one, this is super easy, but people don't do it enough. Pick a new theme. We've got multiple themes on Carrot, and you pick one or upgrade to pay for the premium themes, which look even a little bit more modern. They're all high converting themes. They're all converting higher than industry standard, but get a different theme. I would recommend going into Google and type it in, sell my house fast, Roseburg, Oregon, wherever you are, whatever search phrases you want to be showing up for, and see what other Carrot sites are using, and maybe go with something different. And just consider that when you're doing your competitive research, when you're launching a site, is what are other people using? How can I stand out? But that's an easy one. Just use a different theme. Anything on that? That's the
Yeah.
sixth thing.
I would also just say, I'm on our product team here at Carrot, and I know that our team is always looking at ways to improve those designs and looking for feedback on what our members want to see in terms of design options. So if you have some dream of what your perfect design would look like and you're not finding that, let us know exactly what you're wanting that you think might not be available, because it probably is available, and maybe like with the settings on those blocks, maybe you just haven't found it yet, or maybe there's something that we can add for you. So let us know. I know our head designer Katie has been asking, wanting to see examples of what y'all like in terms of design, so let us know.
Yeah, good. I'm glad you mentioned that. Thank you. I guess last thing I'll tack on there, I'd be remiss if I didn't mention, these are all pretty easy to execute, and most people could go into their Carrot website and do these. If you're just super hands off and you want us to do this, we can build you basically a custom Carrot website. We call it the concierge service. Just go to marketplace.carrot.com and you'll find a place where we can basically build out the Carrot site for you and just like do it up to the nines with our in-house team. So if that's something you're interested in, we do have that. We've done websites for all different people. They look really good. They really stand out. So that's about it for the high level stuff. If you guys have any questions, put them in the chat and we will do our best to answer them. But let's go into the coaching call, a deep dive, and kind of show off some of these things here, since we are talking about design today. Cool. So you want to share up your screen, Mallory, and I'll add it into the stream here. We're going to take a look at credibility bars first. There's a bunch of different credibility bars you can do. We've got a few built into Carrot, but let's take a look at this. Mallory has her Carrot. What is your Carrot website, Mallory?
It's I named it Lagniappe House Buyers. I think I live in New Orleans. Lagniappe is kind of a Cajun French word that means a little something extra, basically.
Lagniappe. I'm gonna have to
Lagniappe.
put that in my vocabulary.
Yeah, you'll have to remember how to spell it first.
Couldn't even tell you.
Yeah. So this is a page, on my test site, basically, and I have gone in here and basically starting to add a new block, right? And so we get this drop down. We have all of these different options for blocks, including some credibility bar options. So just as an example, I'll pop in this credibility bar that includes a logo and a testimonial. So here, this comes pre-populated, kind of optimized for if you want to pull in a Google review from your own, Google My Business page. It has the image. One thing I would say, this came up in our Facebook group recently, is that if you want to create kind of that stronger correlation between your website and your Google My Business page, you can grab that direct link for the Google My Business page itself and pop that link so that, you're linking directly to it. So you could link this image, just add a link here with the little link thing and pop that URL in there to your Google My Business page. And then here, this comes pre-populated with a testimonial block inside of this credibility block, right? And so this right now, it just has a little bit of sort of sample text because I don't have a testimonial selected. There's a special area in your Carrot site dashboard called testimonials where you can add all of your different quotes and testimonials and things. So what I can do, I've added 2 different just fake testimonials this is a sample site. I don't have any real clients for this made up company, but I've added 2 fake testimonials. I can grab either one that I would want to feature here. So I'll just grab Jackie Sunderland, and you can see how it kind of pre-populates with this text-based testimonial. So that's an example of that. And there's lots of different other options. So as I mentioned here on this sidebar, this is some of what I was talking about with those block settings. This is specific to the testimonial block right now, the settings that we're seeing here where I can choose which testimonial I want to add. That is because I have this testimonial block selected.
Nice.
Do you want me to show you some of the other settings while I'm talking about block settings here?
We'll save it for a sec. I'll share. Okay. I have my screen pulled up. I'm going to share a couple other examples of the credibility bar, and then I'll let you take back over as we dive into testimonials. Okay, so here's just so you guys can get an idea of variety. This is Daniel, Sell My House Fast, SETX. He's got local news sources on his. So I guess maybe not local, but Fox News, Realtor.com, New York Post, probably things that he's done like guest blog posting for, a little bit of PR for. Some people will go that route, like as seen on these different news sources or local places. So there's one idea. Bo from Simply Sold, he's gone a little bit of a different route. Where is it? Right here. He's got Google reviews. He's got Google 5-star reviews, and then he's got 3 screenshot of reviews there on his website. Okay. And then I click that and it links out to that actual review, like Mallory's mentioned earlier in the podcast. So that's another version. And then right here, Chris Ty on from Elevation Construction. This is exactly what Mallory was just showing. So here's the Google review. That's the that's the pre-built Carrot block that she was mentioning. It looks like it links out to his Google Maps. But yeah, there's 3 different versions for you. Let me take my screen out. We'll talk about testimonials, different types of testimonial blocks we can use.
Sure. Well, I mean, yeah, I shared this example of adding where the testimonial kind of like pre-populates within the credibility bar. But let's show you how to, give me 1 second.
Yeah.
Let's show how to actually add those testimonials. I'm sharing screen.
There we go.
So basically, if you're in your main Carrot dashboard and you look under content, you have a lot of different options. That's where you edit your pages and your post, but there is a section called testimonials. And so as I mentioned, these were the 2 that I had pre-created. These are just, I asked ChatGPT to write nice things about me basically for this example. But here you can add more testimonials. So if I edit one of these existing ones, basically how this works is pretty similar to any other like paragraph or text block. So if you wanted to even embed a YouTube video in this testimonial, you could do that too. So it's really like you can play with this and see how you would want to style things, how much information you want to add. You could make these short and sweet. You could make them really long. It kind of depends, but there's lots of different options.
Yeah, so you can screenshot your Google review or your Facebook review, add it into as an actual Carrot testimonial. So that way, when you're working on pages, let's say you're working on your homepage or a page for a specific city, you can just go in and click add testimonial block, and then you'll have that screenshot there, as opposed to just adding it as an image, because the testimonial block is reusable and you can have it live on multiple pages. And when you make an update to that one instance, that one testimonial block, it's going to update everywhere. That's kind of the benefit.
Yeah, because see, this is how I'm back here on this credibility bar where there's the testimonial block, and I had those options. So as I add more testimonials, anytime you want to drop one in, they'll just be there for you already. It makes it so much faster.
Nice.
Um, Oh, and then I was going to say here too on this testimonial, just to call this out. So you'll be able to add the name if you want to put the location, the author image. This testimonial URL field, this is where if you grabbed a specific Google testimonial, right, like a Google review, you could grab that specific link and have this link back directly to that review, which can kind of help create that like credibility and proof that you're not just like I did making up testimonials from ChatGPT.
Yeah, this is an interesting one because like usually as a marketer, I'm trying to get people to, I'm trying not to distract people. It's like the whole rule of like have one CTA, have people not click out. But in this case, it's like you want it to be believable because people, especially if they're creating a new website, so often you'll see like fake reviews. And so you want it to be credible. Like they should be able to click the review and say, okay, this is their Google business profile. They're legitimate. They're credible because anybody can make up a review.
Yeah. Yeah. You could also, so you'll want to use the link text. We had the example of like read full review. You could say like read the review on Google. If you wanted to link out to a YouTube video where maybe it's like a longer YouTube video, but you just want to do like a 1 sentence quote from that as a text, you could say like watch the full review on YouTube and link this to that YouTube video.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. Cool. Let's talk about adding snazz and pizzazz to your blocks.
Okay, so I've come back over here to this page that I was editing where I added that credibility bar. So I want to pop down here. So this, I've just grabbed like a full column. This is 2 different columns, right? So here we could do things. This is that sidebar that I was discussing. And also if you're in your Carrot website and you don't see this sidebar showing up, this button right here, this will make it disappear and appear. It kind of depends on how you like to edit your pages. If you like a little cleaner look or if you want all of these options, right? So that's how you do that. But if you have this sidebar open, you'll have all of your page settings, right? These are things like how you edit the URL of a page, things like that. But if you switch to the block settings, and then when you have any type of block selected, you'll have different options depending on what that block is. So I have these columns, the whole column thing is selected. So if I wanted to just like, add more columns, right? I suddenly want to, like that example you were showing of where we have multiple logos where we've been featured publicly by different news sources. If we wanted to build this manually, we could do something like this with a column block, for example.
Yeah.
I'm going to make this smaller again, just for this example. So here's one of the things that I had mentioned was, if I can get it. Oh, there we go. It's okay. There we go. Just the list block. So this list block is what I was saying with the check marks, right? So the default, if you just add a list block, it's just going to look like a bulleted list like this. But you could, we could have big, large numbers, and that color, that teal, is pulling from my branded site colors that I've set in the settings. And we'll show that in a little bit. But if we want to do check marks like these can be really good for this type of section where you're saying like, these are all the things that our company or service provides, right? Check the list, right?
Yeah. I like that number one if you're doing like a, how our process works, like how it works, little section. Because otherwise you'd be having to like drag in icons. You go into Google, type in number icon, download it, upload it, like just skip that.
Yeah, I love it. And I feel like this is, because I've been here at Carrot less than a year, and this was a thing that it took me a little bit to discover this. And when I discovered these options, I was like, aha, this is amazing. And I feel like maybe a lot of our customers or our members don't realize all of these options that we have for some of our blocks, right?
Yeah.
You can also do things like, where did it go? Like there's so many different things you can change and play with, right? Here's a paragraph block we have selected now. You can change the, font styles. This is what we're talking about with some of the backgrounds. If I click in the background of this paragraph block, it's going to give me a lot of different color options based, again, on the brand colors that I've added in my design settings. So if I want like a hot pink call out box based on my hot pink brand colors, I could do that.
And if you're choosing a hot pink background, make sure you have something really important to say,
Yeah.
because you have grabbed their attention. The copy better be good or they're gonna bounce.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
but seriously, this is really good for like if you have like a I don't know like some really unique selling proposition or something you really want them to know that really separates you from your competitors. That's a good way to do that. If they're about halfway down the page and you're like, I really want everyone to know this is what
Yeah.
separates me.
Look,
Bam.
we can get crazy with the gradients too, right? This is stuff where, again, you want to, maybe not lean into the GeoCities MySpace era of just putting a million colors on your carrot website,
Yeah.
right? Proceed with caution when you're doing a lot of this stuff, just in terms of design, but you have these options.
Let's go back up to our photo of Greg and
Oh,
Michelle, who I
yeah.
just randomly named here, our friends.
Greg and Michelle. Yeah, so
Why
we've
not?
got it on the default photo option. This is what it defaults to. It's just like basic photo. I can make it be kind of rounded. This one, it kind of gives it that rounded edge. We can make it grayscale. So that example that we were talking about earlier with before and after photos, where maybe you want to make a before photo, a grayscale black and white image, and have the after image right next to it in full color. You could do that easily through this. Or you can do a drop shadow. So you can see it added just a little bit of a drop shadow around it.
And you can also, so I like that, like, the rounded effect makes it a little more modern. You can also click on the image and edit that image from within the Carrot app. I think a lot of people probably don't know that. Like if you just need to do like a basic crop to the image on the fly or something like that, you can edit it within Carrot. You don't have to always like go to Canva or something else. But yeah, so that's the thing. Anything else on adding pizzazz to your blocks? You could do drop shadow. You could do.
There's so many
There's a
things.
million
I
things.
would say just like play with it, right? Like, like we can add these, like, there's so many things. It's like the world is your oyster. We've got like this form has this like background. There's just a lot that you can do.
Yeah. All right. So we talked about adding snaz to blocks. Let's talk about colors.
Colors. Yeah. You want to go into design?
Yeah, let's do that.
So how did we get all those like hot pinks and teals that I have in my
Let's
color palette?
let's I don't know. You probably don't have this pulled up, but let's pull up Coolors real
Oh,
quick just to
yeah,
show
I can
people.
pull that up. Yeah.
It might be good because we can talk about it, but people seeing it, it's like,
Yeah. So this is the website coolors.co. .co, not .com. So there is the generator, and then you can also explore trending color palettes. So the trending color palettes can be a good option if you are like, I am colorblind, or I don't know what colors look good with each other. There's lots of people who have created different, color palettes, and some of them have lots of different options. Some of them are kind of a lot more like simple, like this sort of like neutral color palette where there's a lot more like similar kind of complementary earth tones, for example. You can also search these, say that you wanted to look at all of the different blue color palettes or color palettes that have blue, and you could suddenly have like all of these different options, right? So if you don't have any colors at all, this could be a good place to start. If you already have one or two colors that that you want to use. So then you would go to the generator. So it just gives you this like random color palette to start with, but you can start playing with this. So here we have the option to change these hex colors, right? The 6-digit color. Let me actually go grab from my design because I don't remember the exact hex code.
I was curious what it would pull for like carrot.com colors, if it would actually pull the ones that we've chosen. I don't know. Doesn't matter.
I don't know. I don't know the exact hex code of that orange off the top of my head, but so I'm going to grab this teal. So this is actually one of my brand colors that I use for one of my own personal websites. So I love a teal. So here I put it in. And what it can do is if you know that you have like that one color that's your brand color, like my teal or the carrot orange, you can lock it. And then basically with your space bar, you hit your space bar and it's going to give you more colors, right? So this is a super colorful color palette. Maybe I'm like, oh, I like this yellow, this sun glow yellow, but I don't really know if I want all of these colors. So I can lock this yellow too, and then hit space bar again. And it'll start changing your options every time you hit the space bar.
Nice.
And some of the things you can do, like once you find a color palette that you really like, you can export it as lots of different types of files. I love to do like a PDF or just like an image and kind of keep that as my cheat sheet for my color palette, my kind of mini little brand kit. on my desktop, so I know what colors I'm using for like everything that I do.
That's awesome. I love this tool. It's
Yeah.
fantastic. So now we got our brand colors.
Yeah.
What are we doing with them in Carrot?
Yeah. So I have gone in here to design. Let me pop back out to kind of show y'all where you get to this. So say that we're in the back of our dashboard, right? We've just like logged into our Carrot site. You go to this design section right here. That's how you get to it. And so this is all of the stuff that will really change the overall look and feel of your entire Carrot website, right? And so one of the first things you can really focus on related to this conversation is colors. And so this is where I pulled that primary color, that teal, from earlier. And so you can, if you know the exact 6-digit hex code, you can put that in here. You can type it in. You can also use some of these sliders. You can use like super primary colors if you're like, I just need to get something started just to start building the site, and I'll come back and like zhuzh up the colors later. You can do that. You can use this slider to kind of get slight variations based off whatever you had selected. And then from there, you can also change your secondary color, link color, and button color. So as it's explained, secondary colors used for certain graphic accents, backgrounds. We probably want this to be a similar color, right? Like not like completely the opposite end of the color wheel, right?
Mm-hmm.
But then the link color and the button color, we usually do want those to be somewhat contrasting or somewhat different than the colors that we're using for these primary and secondary colors, right? Because links need to be something that is clearly different as a link that somebody would click to get to another page on your website, or, you know, to take action in some way. I've used a lavender just for this example. One of the kind of standard colors for links throughout the history of the internet is some version of a blue. But if you're using, like, you don't want to use the exact same blue that you're using as a primary color, right? So you might just want to find like a slightly different variation or something.
Mm-hmm.
And then a button color, we usually recommend that a button color be some sort of color that contrasts and looks different than your other primary and secondary color. So I have this hot pink, oranges, reds, things like that will often be really good button colors because they show up, you know, like here where it says get my cash offer at this big form at the top of your website. You want that to be something that somebody can easily see and click and take action.
Yeah. The worst thing you can do is have it blend into your website.
Yeah.
Like a chameleon. You don't want it to just blend in with everything and get lost. Have it
Yeah.
scream. Cool. So that's colors, color psychology, photos.
How do we change our design? Because I'm in here right now, right?
Oh, yes.
Up here at the top. So we currently have this website set to the cedar design, but let me go in here and change. So this is how you change that theme or your overall design. And the ones that have the stars up here, aspen, hemlock, and mahogany, these are our premium designs. So if you've opted in for our premium design package, you'll have these options as well. If you don't, any of our Carrot members will have access to whatever, you know, these designs are here under basic designs. So for example, cedar, Douglas, juniper, madrone. And you can see like we usually are going to start off a homepage with a form. But even then, like if you were to preview these, like this one is cedar, which I'm previewing now. I've already got this one selected, but if I wanted to switch to a different one, I can actually have a live preview. It will start to show me how this design, if I were to switch my website to this one, is going to look different. So play around with these, see which ones you like, start testing.
Yeah. And you can preview them without setting them live. You can see what your
Right.
website would look like on that theme. You don't have to worry about like switching the whole thing over.
Yep. Yeah. You can just do this live preview and it will automatically kind of like see what looks different.
Nice. Photos, I don't feel like there's anything to explain there. Easy enough to swap out. Anything else you want to add, Mallory, before we wrap it up? Anything else people can do? Nothing top of mind for me.
I mean, you know, there's so many options. I would say like if you are new to Carrot, get in here and explore. Also, if you're new to Carrot, be sure to take advantage of our group onboarding calls and our help center and all of our other options, because you know there can be a lot to explore and play around with. If you've been using Carrot for a while and you haven't explored all this stuff and you just kind of like started your website, didn't really do anything with it, it's always a great time to like come back here and freshen things up, right?
Yeah. Yeah, that's good. Yeah, I would just recommend, like, yeah, like you said, it's easy to get overwhelmed, but focus on credibility, localization, and make the design tweaks as you go. So I don't think it'd be wise to sit down like often and say, okay, I'm just gonna keep working on just the design of my website. Like, design and the credibility, they got to go hand in hand.
Right. Well, and part of credibility is the content too,
Yeah.
right? This is another thing. This is
Mhm.
separate from design, but it's still very related. Um, is that our one of the advantages of Carrot is we have these amazing templates that come with all of this pre-populated content that is created for certain, businesses with certain types of needs and certain types of customers. We have these different site types, but you still want to take that templated content and make it your own, right?
Yeah.
I've changed some of this. I've added my picture, right? But we want to make sure that we are adding our own unique expertise, things about our own business and what makes us different, things about our local market area, all of that good stuff, because that's going to help you win the hearts and minds of your ideal clients or customers and help you with your search engine optimization.
That's awesome. Cool. Appreciate it, Mallory. Thank you. I hope that's helpful for y'all listening. I had fun kind of getting around and care exploring the different things you can do. That's a wrap for today. If you guys got value out of this, share with a friend. If you have any questions, put them in the comment thread. We're going to hop off the live, but we'll still see them after the fact. We'll answer them in the Facebook group. Or, if you're watching from your Carrot app, and in the YouTube chat there. But yeah, join us live. We'll be here next week. Next week, I'm having a guest come on, actually. Kylie Newbold is going to be joining us to talk about Facebook ads, retargeting with Facebook ads. Might not sound like the most exciting thing if you're not a marketer, but it's a really good way to capture more leads from your website. People that are coming to your website and then leaving, using retargeting ads on Facebook to get them back and stop losing deals. So it's going to be good. We're going to have Kylie on. But anyways, thanks for watching, everybody. And thank you, Mallory. We'll see you all next week.